Hello and welcome to the part 4 of the sequences and series past objective questions from WAEC. Now in today's video, we want to continue what we started by looking at example number 16 all the way to example number 20. Alright, so if you're ready, I'm ready. Get your piece of paper or your jotter, grab your pen and let's solve some further mathematics. Alright, so example number 16. The nth term of a sequence is defined by un is equal to 3 raised to the power 3 multiplied by 1 on 3 in bracket raised to the power 1 minus n. We are to find u5, that is the fifth term, divided by u6, which is the sixth term. We have option A given to us as 27, option B given to us as 9, option C 3, option D 1/3, and this is the SSC 2000 question number 9. All right, so let's proceed to look at the solution to this problem. So write down solution. So they are saying the nth term of a sequence is defined by this, right? So it means for this particular question, the sequence is defined as we see over here. It's a special case, so we have to find u5 and u6, the ratio between them. So what it means is that using the formula un and what is given to us over here, we need to find u5, find u6, and then we divide them and we get our answer. So let's proceed to look at that. So the question has given us un to be equal to 3 raised to the power 3 multiplied by 1 on 3 raised to the power 1 minus n. Now to find u5 means the value of n is 5. So I have 3 raised to the power 3, that will give me 27. So I have 27 here, multiplied by 1 on 3 to the power 1 minus 5. So my u5 is equal to 27 into bracket 1 on 3 raised to the power 1 minus 5 will give me minus 4. And so my u5 is equal to 27 multiplied by, now I'll compute this side in the calculator. So 1/3 raised to the power negative 4 will give me positive 81. And if I multiply that by 27, I am going to get 2187 as my answer. Now what I did over here is to compute this into the calculator. If you like, you can put everything into the calculator and get your answer straight. Like I said, this is an objective question. There's no need you try to show work, because it will not be marked. Only the final answer will be marked. But for the sake of this tutorial, I have to do everything for you guys to see. All right, so let's look at u6. So u6 will be equal to 3 raised to the power 3 multiplied by 1/3, and then raised to the power 1 minus 6 in this case. So our u6 is 27 multiplied by 1/3 raised to the power negative 5 over here. So if I have the 27 over here, 1/3 raised to the power negative 5 will give me 243. Okay, and then if I multiply 243 by 27, I'm going to get 6,561. Okay, so I have u5 and then I have u6. So my answer, which is u5 on u6, will be equal to u5, which is 2187, on u6, which is 6561, and that is equal to, you just need to compute this into the calculator, and that will give you 1/3 as your answer. So our final answer over here is option D, which is 1/3. All right, so let's proceed to look at question number 17. Okay, so question number 17. The sum of the second and fifth terms of a linear sequence is 6, and the common difference is minus 2. What is the first term of the sequence? We have option A 4, option B 6, option C 7, and option D is 8. And this is the SSC 2000 question number 21. All right, so let's proceed to look at the solution to this particular problem. So the question is saying that the sum of the second and fifth term of a linear sequence is 6 and the common difference is 2. So it means that the second term is u, so u2 plus the fifth term, which is u5, is equal to 6, and then the common difference, so d, is equal to -2. All right, so we have to find the first term, which is a, of this particular sequence. All right, so from what we've been given, we're told that not the sum of the first 5 sequence, but the sum of the second and fifth. So it means u2, which is the second term, and then u5, which is the fifth term. When you add those two together, you get +6. But the difference between two adjacent terms in this particular sequence is -2. All right, so the first thing we want to do is to find what u2 is. So un, as we know, is given to us as a plus into bracket n minus 1 multiplied by d. So in this case where we have u2, it means n is 2, so we have a plus 2 minus 1 multiplied by d, and then u2 is equal to a plus 2 minus 1 is 1 multiplied by d, will just give us d over here, and so multiplied by d, and then the d is -2. So let me just continue that. So u2, I didn't do the substitution of d over here, but so it means we have a plus the d is -2, so which is -2, and so that will become u2 is equal to a minus 2. Let's make this our equation 1. Now ideally I'm supposed to substitute the -2 over here in place of d, and then we'll get this straight at the third step over here, and no need to come all the way here. But since I didn't do that, I did it over here, and this is what we have. Okay, so let's look at u5. So for u5 we'll have a plus n minus 1 multiplied by d, and the 5 is the n, the value of n. So we have u5 is equal to a plus 5 minus 1 multiplied by -2, that is the difference, and then u5 is equal to a plus 5 minus 1 will give me 4 multiplied by -2, and that means that my u5 is equal to a plus 4 multiplied by -2 will give me -8. So I have u5 is equal to a minus 8, and this becomes my equation 2. All right, so now if I look at these two equations and I look at what the statement I've already written in the first place, or that was given to us in the question, let me use a different color for this. It means that I use my u2 plus u5 is equal to 6. This expression, that is what I'm going to use. So if I add equation 1 and equation 2, that should give me 6. So it means that equation 1, which is what I have over here, a minus 2, let me put that in bracket, plus u5, which is a minus 8, that should be equal to 6. So if I remove the bracket, I have a minus 2 plus a minus 8, that is equal to 6. I have minus 2 here, minus 8 here, that will give me minus 10, and then a plus a will give me 2a. So I have 2a minus 10 is equal to 6. So if I send the 10 to the other side of the equal to sign, I will have 2a is equal to 6 plus 10, and that will give me 2a is equal to 16. And so therefore, let me just use this area. 2a is equal to 16. To find the value of a, we divide both sides by 2, and so a will be equal to 16 on 2. That means the value of a is equal to 8. All right, so if you look through our possible answers, option D is the option that gives us the value of 8 as our answer, and so therefore that becomes the answer for this particular question. So I hope we've been able to understand how we got this expression, or this statement from the question. They said the sum of the second and then the fifth term is equal to 6. So that is why we are using this. And they say linear sequence. That is why we are using the linear sequence formula. And the question says that the common difference is -2, and that is what we use. And we found U2, found U5, equate them to 6, and then we were able to get the value for our A, which in this case is positive 8. All right, so let's proceed to look at example number 18. Now we have to find the sum of the first 6 terms of an exponential sequence of an exponential series, that is 1/4 as the first term, -1/8 as the second term, and then 1/16 as the third term. Okay, so this is the SSC July 2001 question number 11, and then the possible answers given to us is 42 on 128 as option A. Option B is 21 on 128. Option C is -21 on 128, and option D is -42 on 128. All right, so let's proceed to look at the solution to this particular problem. So write down our solution. Okay, so they said that find the sum of the first 6 terms of the exponential series. Now for an exponential series or GP, to find the sum of a term, or the sum of term, is given to us as Sn is equal to A into bracket 1 minus r raised to the power n all over 1 minus r, where r is the ratio, okay, the n is the number of term, the A is the first term, and then the Sn is the sum of term. All right, so if you look at this, our A from this question is 1/4, as we can see over there. That is the first term. Our ratio r will be equal to U2 on U1, which in this case the U2 is -1/8, and then U1 is 1/4. So if I look at that, I have -1/8 divided by 1/4, and then if I reciprocate that, I'll get -1/8 multiplied by 4/1. So this will give me -4/8, and this will give me -1/2 as my answer over here. So the ratio for this particular question is -1/2. All right, so for the purpose of space, I will erase everything and just write the -half as the ratio over here. So our ratio in this case is -half, so -1/2. All right, so now that we have our first term and then our ratio, we can do the substitution and find the sum of the first 6 terms. All right, so let's proceed to look at that. So we have this, the formula Sn is equal to our A is 1/4, then into bracket 1 minus, we have our r, which is -1/2 raised to the power n, and then the n in this case is 6, since the question is saying we should find the sum of the first 6 terms. So our n is 6, so we write that here. So that will be 6, and then the last bracket. So let me do this like this. Okay, let me do this guy like this. Okay, all right, so divided by 1 minus into bracket. Remember the ratio is negative, so I'm putting that in bracket, so half. All right, so let's look at this. We have 1/4, and then this 1 minus, if I put into bracket -1/2 raised to the power 6, and I compute that into my calculator, I am going to get 1/64. So I have 1/64 over there as my answer. And then if I compute 1 minus into bracket -1/2, if I compute that into the calculator, it's going to give me 3/2, positive 3/2, and that is what I want. Since this is objective questions, we can just use calculator very easily. But from here, these two becomes positive, and then we can just add 1 plus 1 over 2, and that will give us 3 over 2, right? I jumped that step, but from here to here, know that the negative here becomes positive, and then you just add the 1 and the 1 over 2. All right, so from here we proceed. We have 1 over 4 outside into bracket. I compute this into the calculator. So 1 minus 1 over 64, that will give me 63 over 64. Okay, I use calculator straight, but you just need to find LCM for this. Has a denominator of 1, so 1 and 64, the LCM will be 64. 1 will go into 64 times. 64 multiplied by 1 will give you 64, minus 64 will go into itself 1. That 1 multiplied by 1 will be 1. So you have 64 minus 1 at the top divided by 64, and that will give you 63 divided by 64, and that is what we have over here. All right, so let's proceed. So divided by 3 over 2 as usual over here. So this is equal to, if I multiply all the things that I have at the top over here, I am going to get 1 multiplied by 63 will give me 63. 4 multiplied by 64 will give me 256. So I have 63 over 256. Then the division sign, I write it like this, and then 3 over 2. Okay, so from here I can reciprocate this guy and change the division sign to multiplication. So I have 63 on 256 multiplied by 2 on 3. Now from here you can do some cancellations, or you can just multiply and divide later like I did. So I multiply 63 by 2, that will give me 126, and then 256 by 3, that will give me 768. And then if you compute this into your calculator, it will give you the ratio 21 on 128. Okay, this is what it will give you as a fraction, not as a decimal, as a fraction. So if I look through my possible options, I can see that option B matches what I have here, so therefore option B is my correct answer for this particular question. All right, so we can see that even though these questions are objective questions, they go into details, and sometimes it requires that you take your time, solve the problem, know the formula you are supposed to use, do the necessary calculations, do the necessary substitution, and then take your time in computing the values one after the other. Don't try to put everything all into the calculator at once. You might make a mistake. So just go one step by after the other and then get your answer. It's better to get an answer than to rush and then get all your calculations wrong. So this is the solution to this problem. All right, so let's look at question number 19. So the sum of the first 4 terms of a linear sequence, that is AP, is 28. The sum of the third and fourth terms is 22. We have to find a common difference. I'll take the question again. The sum of the first 4 terms of a linear sequence, that is AP, is 28. The sum of the third and fourth terms is 22. We have to find the common difference. I have options A, 4, B is 6, C is 16, and D is 50. And this problem came in the SSE November 2001 question number 12 as an objective question. All right, so let's proceed to look at the solution to this particular problem. Now this problem really entails a lot of substitution, a lot of formulas, a lot of equations that you are going to derive. So this basically can come as a subjective question or as a compulsory question for core mathematics. So it's good you know some of these things. Now let's go through the question again. They said the sum of the first 4 terms of a linear sequence. So we know that the sum of a linear sequence given to us Sn is equal to n on 2 into bracket 2a plus n minus 1 multiplied by d. This is the formula that we use to find the sum of a sequence. And the question is saying the sum of the first 4 terms. So it means S4 is equal to 28. All right, so and the question is saying the sum of the third and fourth terms. So the sum of the third term is U3 plus the fourth term is u4. If you add these two, you are going to get 28. So we have to find the common difference. Okay, so let's see what we have. We have S4, we have U3, we have U4, and then U3 plus U4 is equal to 22. So let's try to find what is S4, find U3, find U4, and see what we can get. Right, so let's start with S4. S4 is equal to the formula n over 2 into bracket 2a plus n minus 1 multiplied by d. And so the n4, which I have over here, has already been given to me as 28. So I'll do that substitution. I have 28 is equal to the n is the 4 over here. That is the sum of the first 4 terms. So it will be 4 over 2 multiplied by 2a plus 4 minus 1 multiplied by d. Now the 4 over here, like I said, is the value of n, which is the 4 as the subscript over here. So I have 28 is equal to 4 divided by 2 give me 2 multiplied by 2a plus this will give me 3d. Okay, so from here I have I just divide both sides by 2, this will cancel this. So I have over here 14 is equal to 2a plus 3d. Okay, so I'm going to name this as my equation 1. Okay, so let me write that over here. Let me use a different color to write that. So I have my first equation for the day is 14 is equal to 2a plus 3d. This is my equation 1. All right, so let's proceed to look at another one. So I have here u3 and u4, so I need to find what is u3. Now u3 or un, let me make it un first. The formula for un, like we've already seen, that is a plus into bracket n minus 1 multiplied by d. In our case, we have u3 that will be equal to a plus into bracket, the n is 3, so I have 3 minus 1 multiplied by d. And so therefore u3 will be equal to a plus 3 minus 1 is 2 multiplied by the d becomes 2d. And so therefore this becomes my equation 2. And then u4 will be equal to a plus into bracket n minus 1 multiplied by d. So u4 will be equal to a plus into bracket 4 minus 1 multiplied by d. The 4 is the value of the 4 over here, the subscript. So u4 is equal to a plus 4 minus 1 is 3 multiplied by d will be 3d, and this becomes my equation 3. All right, so I have three equations over here. I have equation 1, which is over here, equation 2 over here, equation 3 over here. Now don't forget that they are saying that equation 2 and equation 3, which is u3 plus u4, is equal to 22. So if u3 and u4 is equal to 22, we can add both and equate it to 22 to find either a or d, right? So let's look at that. Let me write the equations down first. So I have u3 is equal to a plus 2d, and this is equation 2. And then I have u4 is equal to a plus 3d, and this is equation 3. All right, so let's get some space and then we continue with our calculation. Okay, so I'm going to erase everything I have over here. If you don't understand something, you can just reverse or go back a little, and then you go and listen to the explanation I gave again, and then you should be good to go. All right, so still using the expression that I have over here, I have u3 plus u4 to be equal to 22 from the question, and then my u3 and u4 are a plus 2d and then a plus 3d respectively. So I have u3 is a plus 2d plus u4 is a plus 3d, that is equal to 22. So if I remove the bracket, I have a plus 2d plus a plus 3d, and that is equal to 22. I have a here, that will give me 2a, plus I have 2d plus 3d, that will give me 5d, and this is equal to 22. Okay, so if I look at this and I look at equation 1, I can see 2a here, 2a here. So I decide to make 2a the subject over here. So I have 2a here is equal to 22 minus 5d. So I send the 5d to the other side. Then this becomes my equation 4. All right, so now that I have equation 4, I will substitute equation 4 into equation 1. Okay, so if we do that, we are going to have equation 1 is 14 is equal to 2a plus 3d. But remember, the 2a over here is the same as 22 minus 5d over here from equation 4, and that is where we are going to do the substitution. So I have 14 is equal to, the 2a becomes 22 minus 5d, and then I have the plus 3d here, and then I add it over here. So I have 14 is equal to, I maintain my 22 minus 5d plus 3d will give me minus 2d. Okay, so from here I can proceed to group items. I decided to send a negative 2 to the other side of the equal to sign and send a 14 to the other side so that I get positive values. So sending the negative 2 over here to the left, I have positive 2d is equal to, my 22 is still here. I send a positive 14 to the other side, it becomes negative, so I have minus 14. So I have 2d is equal to 22 minus 14 will give me 8. So I divide both sides by 2 to make d stand alone, and so therefore my value for d is 8 over 2, which is equal to 4. So therefore my correct option here is option A, which is 4. Now if you look at this particular question, just this particular question, you realize that we had to use the formula, the sum of the term, to get an equation. Use u3 plus u4, find the equation for u3, find u4, do the substitution to get another equation, which is equation 4, do the substitution back to equation 1 to get the difference, right? So if you look at it, this actually involves a lot of calculations, a lot of you finding equations and doing some substitutions. So you knowing how to solve simultaneous equations and how to be able to derive equation and how to do substitution is very, very crucial, even though this is sequence and series. So in mathematics in general, if you learn something, it doesn't mean you should forget it. So equation of a line, angles, or no matter what it is you learn, how to solve simultaneous equation in 2 variables or 3 variables, it can come in handy in another topic. So always make sure as much as possible you don't forget things that you learn, especially when you're preparing for your final exams. You need to have some of these things at the tip of your fingers. All right, so let's look at the final example for this particular tutorial, and then we end, and then we proceed to part 5 in the future. Okay, so let's look at the final question. Example number 20. We have to find the sum of the first n terms of the sequence 1, 3, 5, ... It's continuous, and then the last term is 2n minus 1. And we have option A, it's a ratio. We have n into bracket n minus 1, all divided by 2. B, 2n minus 1, all in bracket squared. Option C is n squared, and option D is 2n squared. So this is the SSC November 2001 question number 15. Now this is relatively easier compared to the previous example. So let's go ahead and look at the solution to the problem. Now you can pause the video, attempt the question, and then play the video so that you see my solution to the problem, and then compare with yours to see if you've also gotten the same answer as me. All right, so the question says the sum, you have to find the sum for the first n term of a sequence. Now to find the sum of a sequence, if you look at this sequence, it's a linear sequence. can see an increment of 2 2 2 2 2 or plus 2 in it, so it's a linear sequence. So to find the sum of a linear sequence, the formula is Sn is equal to n over 2 into brackets 2a plus n minus 1 multiplied by d. So this is the formula that we use to find the sum of the n terms, right? Okay, so if I look at this formula and I look at my sequence given to me, the first term a is 1, that is the first number. The difference is let me use 3 and 1, so it will be 3 minus 1, and this is equal to 2. And then they just said I should find the sum of the first n terms there. The value of n was not specified, so I only have a and d to substitute into this formula. So if I do that substitution, I'm going to have Sn to be equal to n on 2 into bracket 2, the a is 1, I do that, plus n is not known, so n minus 1 multiplied by d, which is 2, and so I have Sn to be equal to n on 2. 2 multiplied by 1 is 2, plus 2 multiplied by the n in here will be 2n, minus 2 multiplied by negative 1 will give me negative 2 over here. So I have Sn is equal to n on 2 into bracket. You can see negative 2 here, positive 2 here, so they cancel each other out. So we only have 2n left in the bracket over here. And so this is like having n on 2 multiplied by 2n. And so therefore, that will be equal to, this is like, this has a denominator of 1. So I have 2n squared at the top divided by 2. And then the 2 will cancel each other out. So my final answer here for Sn is equal to n squared. And if I look through my options, my option C is the right answer for this particular problem. So this is the answer for this particular question. Thank you so much for watching. I believe you've learned something, and now you have a better understanding of sequence and series and how to go about these objective questions to get the answer. Like I said, the importance of these tutorials is to actually teach you how to solve the problem. So I am not in a hurry to get the solution. Now you, on the other hand, you will be under examination pressure, so you'd have to be fast, work with speed and accuracy. Speed and accuracy. It is important that you get the answer fast as possible, but don't be in a hurry to get the answer so much so that you get it wrong, right? Because you want to get the answer correct, not wrong, right? That is the purpose of this tutorial. That's why you are watching this, so that you know how to solve it, so that in case it comes, it is easier for you to do, right? And this comes with practice. The more you practice, the better you get, and then the more beneficial it becomes to you, and the easier the objective questions in WASSCE becomes for you. So thank you so much for watching. If this is your first time, subscribe to the channel, share and like the video, so that YouTube will help recommend it to other WAEC candidates as much as possible. So thank you once again, and bye bye.